8 years after the first movie, the blind man has a daughter, but some weird guys are gonna try to kidnap her. And again, Norman is gonna defend himself, even though he can't see a damn thing. That's why today on The Summarizer, Don't Breathe 2. As soon as the movie starts, we are shown a house on fire with a girl walking and passing out in the street, but we'll understand this later, because now we go 8 years in the future, and the girl is escaping from the best character of the previous movie. Yes, from the Rottweiler, who chases her for a while, and though the girl seems to have practiced parkour or something, the blind man ends up grabbing her, pulls out a gun, and tells her that she failed the test. Because apparently her name is Phoenix, she's his daughter, and they were training survival methods or something like that. The important thing about this story is that a couple of years ago, the house where they lived burned down, her mother died there, and all the photos and memories she had with her were set on fire.
We've met some incredible families, but this could be the saddest story we've ever seen.
Oh, and an important fact is that the girl has a lock of white hair, and she keeps singing a horrible song that her mother used to sing to her when she was younger.
And you gotta be a bad bitch. Shake that ass for a tip if you a bad bitch.
It's beautiful.
So remember those two things.
Oh, okay.
The blind man won't let her go to the city because he says it's too dangerous, but one day he lets her go with his family friend named Hernandez. So they go for a walk, they visit the house to leave flowers for her mother, but then she starts to hear strange noises. Anyway, nothing happens there. On TV, we find out that in town, there's a fugitive surgeon who is wanted for children's organ trafficking, and Phoenix dreams of living and playing with some children from an orphanage. At one point, she goes to the toilet, and a strange guy named Raylan appears, and though at first he doesn't let her leave, then the best character in the movie shows up and they both leave. But the weird guy follows her in a van, and they have a cooler as if they were trafficking organs. And on top of that, after dropping Phoenix off at her house, Hernandez runs into these weird guys who are apparently a bit crazy because they were in Iraq. And even though it looks like they're going to let her go and Hernandez is about to call the police, the worst happens. Well, the worst bullshit. Because while Phoenix and her father are talking about how she wants to go to a normal school and stuff like that, outside someone tries to shoot the best character in the movie. And on top of that, all the bad guys show up at the door of the house. And then the blind man opens the door to feed the dog, but it's not there. And on top of that, it didn't eat the food from before. And on top of that, the guys broke into the house. Anyway, nobody cares that the weirdos have entered the house or that the girl has to hide.
Nobody cares.
The important thing is that the blind man finds Shadow and the best character of the movie was killed.
Oh, God! No!
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
This means war.
Meanwhile, Phoenix is about to escape from the house. Still, later, the blind man shows up and she has time to hide in some kind of safe in the basement. Oh, and while the blind man is healing his wound, the blonde guy comes in to look for him, ends up putting glue in his mouth, but the brother saves him and they go to look for the blind man. Then one of the bad guys starts to fill the box with water and grabs a wire to electrocute the girl, so the blind man appears and they start to fight. In the end, the girl survives, and the two of them hide in a greenhouse, but at that moment, Raylan starts talking to her.
It's not me you need to be scared of, but the man standing next to you. Now, I don't know who he is, but I know who he's not.
Then the blind man appears, he gets hit in the head, and Raylan shows him a lock of white hair.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah, because apparently he's her real dad. A couple of years ago, there was a fire at her house. The police blamed it on him. He spent 8 years in prison, and the old man found her and took care of her during all that time. And when the guys are about to kill the old man, I don't know how he manages to escape. Then he ends up killing the blonde dude, and finally they go back into the house. At one point, Raylan sends his dog. The girl hides in a room, escapes through the window, and the bad guys end up catching her. And meanwhile, the blind man is attacked by the dog, and even though he can kill it, he doesn't, and ends up controlling it like Caesar Milan. But at that moment, Raylan grabs a bunch of Molotov cocktails that were in the cooler, and though this bald guy tells him that his dog is inside, Raylan doesn't care about the dog's life. He says it's probably already dead and sets the whole house on fire. And it would seem that the bald guy is a good guy, but it's all pretty weird. It's really hard to know who the good guys are in this movie. Anyway, the group escapes. The blind guy frees the dog,
Because that's what a man does.
jumps out of a window, and in the end escapes the burning house. Raylan escapes with the girl and the rest of the team to an abandoned hotel. There they talk for a while. He tells her when her birthday is, her mother's name, that she has no siblings, and things like that. That her name is actually Tara, that everything the man told her was false, and that now she's free to do whatever she wants. So the girl grabs her things and leaves. But in the hotel, there's a bunch of weird people, and there's this guy who was on the news wanted for organ trafficking and child abduction.
Run, bitch! Run!
But when she's about to leave, someone appears singing that song from the beginning.
Then you gotta be a bad bitch. Shake that ass for a tip if you a bad bitch.
I love this song.
Apparently, it's her mother, who is alive? The trauma she's gonna have for life. Anyway, they start looking at family pictures, but at that moment, we realize that her mother is fucked up.
Are you okay?
Yes, this is healthy golf blood.
No, well, actually, it's not really healthy to cough blood because apparently the fire burned her from the inside. Because in the basement, they had a drug kitchen. I guess the house caught fire because of that, and the smoke from the chemicals hurt her heart. So she's dying, and the only thing she can do to survive is...
I need a new heart, baby.
What?
And the only compatible heart is her daughter's, so they put her to sleep and apparently they were going to do the transplant right there. Meanwhile, the house caught fire. I don't understand how not a single fire truck or police car showed up, but what did show up was the dog who is now his best friend. And after realizing that Hernandez is also dead, she grabs a bell, puts it on the dog, and makes him take it to the abandoned hotel where his owner is. Meanwhile, the bad guys are gonna do the surgery, and apparently the doctor has to keep her alive as long as possible so that the heart stays fresh. Oh, and remember that the bald Raul seemed like a good guy. Well, he tells his other partner that what they are doing is wrong, but apparently they are the ones selling the drugs, so they need the cook to stay alive. And now, yes, the surgery starts. Well, the surgery doesn't start at all because the power goes out in the whole building and the guy with the weird hairstyle goes to see what's going on.
This is for Shadow.
There the surgeon tells him he can't work without electricity, so the plan is to grab the girl and get out of there. And meanwhile, the rest of the team goes to look for the blind man, who is lying in the water playing dead. The blind man kills all three and only Raul is left. But remember I told you that he seemed like a good guy? Well, in the end, he was a good guy. He tells the blind man that they are going to kill the girl, tells him where to go look for her, and lets him live. At all this, Raylan, the woman, and the surgeon escape with the girl. Well, actually the surgeon doesn't because at one point he gets the hell out of there.
Fuck this.
Anyway, he doesn't get very far because the blind man kills him. After that, he grabs some cans with gas and the final fight between the blind man and Raylan takes place. Anyway, the woman dies. The girl, though she fell into the pool, is fine. But when she wants to approach the blind man, he tells her to go away, that everything Raylan told her was true, and that he himself is a monster for all the things he did during his life. But just at that moment, Raylan appears, who apparently is still alive, stabs him, then Phoenix kills her biological father, and even though she wants to save the blind man, he doesn't let her.
I can save you.
You already have.
And the protagonist of the saga dies. The girl goes alone to the orphanage she liked, to live with a lot of friends and to be able to overcome all the traumas that will remain from her childhood. And finally, she is asked what her name is?
My name is Phoenix.
But wait!
There's more!
Of course there's more, because in the post-credits scene, the dog appears and sits next to the blind man in what looks like he's still alive?
No idea.
That was Don't Breathe 2. Comment which series or movies you'd like me to summarize for future videos. See you later.
Gotta work.
Okay. Bye.